A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek the protection of Allah against the devil. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amr wahlul uqdatum min lisani yafqahu qawli. O my Lord, open for me my chest. Grant me the self-confidence, contentment and boldness, and make loose the knot from my tongue that they understand my speech. Assalamu alaikum. May peace, blessings, and mercy of Allah be upon you and to all the messengers of Allah, and in particular on the noble and the final messenger Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, his family, and his companions. In this video, we will be starting this section of the professional ethics. It has the weightage of 15% in exams, and we can expect around 13 to 15 questions from this particular section. Ethics concerns the morality of the activities and practices that are considered right or wrong, including the rules and the values that give rise to those activities and practices. Business ethics, also known as the corporate ethics, is a systematic study of morality as it is applied to the business world. Business ethics applies to the behavior of organizations and individuals within it. Examples of unethical behavior are using the child labor for production, discharging toxic substances into the environment, and paying kickbacks to customers to retain the business. When analyzing ethical behavior, the following concepts should be recognized and understood. Number 1. Ethics. A philosophical examination and understanding of what is right and wrong, or good or bad. Number 2. Morality. Application of the ethical principles. Number 3. Virtue. Characteristics of the morality of an individual. Principles in the code of ethics. There are basically the 4 principles. The first principle is the honesty. Honesty means fairness and straightforwardness of conduct. It is the quality of being upright, having integrity, truthfulness, sincerity, frankness, and freedom from deceit or the fraud. Number 2 principle is the fairness. Fairness means acting impartially and being free from bias, dishonesty, or injustice. It requires a person to be open-minded, tolerant, and accepting. The third principle is the objectivity. Objectivity means basing a judgment on an established set of criteria. It is the state of being unbiased, free from personal feelings or prejudice, and basing analysis and decisions on the facts alone. The fourth principle is the responsibility. Responsibility means doing what you say you will do when you say you will do it. It is the state of being answerable or accountable for something that is within the one's power, control, or the management. Importance of the code of ethics in organization. Senior management is forced to define and document its expectations for the rest of this organization. The Code of Ethics provides a common standard and understanding of the company's definition of ethical behavior by creating a reference point for the company employees. The reference point created by the Code of Ethics provides a framework for the decision making in situations where an explicit company policy does not exist. Creating a code of ethics fulfills the requirement for compliance with the legislation in the United States. One section of the Sarbanes-Oxley legislation, SOX 406, refers to a corporate code of conduct. Ethics training. Training is important to create the awareness of the standards against which the individual behavior will be measured. Management accountants should help to develop the training programs that will promote the creation and the maintenance of an ethical culture. Everyone, even the senior management, should receive the training because such training will help to deliver a standardized message across the organization. Examples of the topics to include in this training include the standards for the interpersonal behavior within the company, prohibited business practices, dissemination and understanding of the company's core values, how to apply the theoretical core values in the real life situations, conflict of interest. A conflict of interest is a conflict between the personal and the official responsibilities of a person in a position of trust, sufficient to affect the judgment, independence, or the objectivity in conducting the affairs of the business. Standards in the code of the ethics. There are basically the 4 standards. Number 1 is the competence. Competence standard says that IMA members must maintain an appropriate level of professional expertise by continuing developing knowledge and skills, perform professional duties under the relevant laws, regulations, and technical standards, and provide the decision support information and recommendations that are accurate, clear, concise, and timely. The second standard is the confidentiality. Confidentiality standard says that information must be kept confidential except when disclosure is authorized or legally required. Inform all the relevant parties regarding the appropriate use of this sensitive information and refrain from using the confidential information for the unethical or the illegal advantage. Integrity. Number 3. Integrity standard says to mitigate the actual conflicts of interest, regularly communicate with business associates to avoid apparent conflicts of interest, advise all parties of any potential conflict of interest, refrain from engaging in any conduct that would prejudice carrying out the duties ethically, abstain from engaging in or supporting any activity that might discredit the profession, contribute to a positive ethical culture and place the integrity of the person above the personal interests. The number 4th standard is the credibility. The credibility standard says that the communication information fairly and objectively, provide all the relevant information that could reasonably be expected to influence an intended user's understanding of the reports, analysis, or the recommendations. Report any delays or the deficiencies in information, timeliness, processing, or the internal controls in conformance with the organization policy or the applicable law. Communicate the professional limitations or the other constraints that would preclude the professional judgment or the successful performance of an activity. The Foreign Corrupt Practices Act (FCPA). The Foreign Corrupt Practices Act prohibits payments to foreign officials, politicians, or the political parties to obtain or renew the business. Its scope includes the payment made directly by an organization and also consists of any actions to initiate the payments by the third parties to the government officials. The FCPA also created the legal requirement that companies maintain the complete, accurate, and the reliable accounting records that represent in all material aspects the complete and the accurate nature of the business transactions. The FCPA applies to any individual, firm, officer, director, employee, or agent of a firm and any stockholder acting on behalf of a firm. Individuals and firms may also be penalized if they order, authorize or assist someone else in violating the provisions of the FCPA. Actions to be taken when an organization do not have the established policies for resolving the ethical issues. The resolution process should include a discussion with the member's immediate supervisor. If the supervisor appears to be involved, the issue could be presented to the next level of the management. IMA offers an anonymous hotline for members to the call. The members should consider consulting their attorney to learn any legal obligations, risks, and rights. If the resolution efforts are not successful, the member may want to consider disassociating from the organization. Types of the fraud. There are two types of the fraud. Number one is the fraudulent financial reporting. Fraudulent financial reporting is most often committed by management to deceive financial statement users. It is the focus of the external auditors and the concern of the regulatory bodies such as the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board and the SEC. The red flags for the fraudulent financial reporting are performance too bad or too good to be true, the threat of the imminent bankruptcy, foreclosure, or the hostile takeover, high turnover of the senior management, council, or the board members, financial management's excessive participation in selecting the accounting principles or the determining estimates, strained relationship with the auditor, known histories of the security laws violations, industry or the market declines, poor cash flow, significant related party transactions not in the ordinary course of the business, highly complex transactions, transactions in the tax haven jurisdictions, unrealistic sales or the profitability incentives, unusually rapid growth, pressure to meet the analyst's earnings expectations. The second type of the fraud is the misappropriation of the assets. Misappropriation of assets is most often committed by employees and results from the theft, embezzlement, or the defalcation. These create typically internal problems such as to incorporate the effects of the misappropriation of assets in the financial statements, and management create controls to minimize the exposure. The red flags for the misappropriation of assets are missing documentation for the transaction, large amount of cash on hand, high valued small size inventories for the other assets, unexplained budget variances, failure of certain employees to take the vacations, unusual write-off of receivables, failure to follow up on the past due receivables, shortages in delivered or the received goods, poor supervision, products or services purchased in excess of the needs, payroll checks with a second endorsement, employees on the payroll who do not sign up for the benefits, undocumented petty cash expenditures, common addresses on the payables, refunds, or the payments, addresses or the telephone numbers of the employees that match with the suppliers or the others, and the complaints by the customers. Three legs of the fraud chair. The first leg is the pressure. The employee has a financial problem that he or she cannot share and cannot solve through the legitimate means. Number two leg is the opportunity. The employee sees a way to use his or her position of trust with an employer to solve the problem in secret and believes it can be done in such a way that there will be a low risk of getting caught because the crime will not be detected. And number three leg is the rationalization. The employee needs to be able to justify the crime as an acceptable or the justifiable act. Requirements of the section 406 of the SOX. It directed the SEC to issue rules requiring each issuer of the securities to disclose in its periodic reports to the SEC whether or not it has adopted a code of ethics for the senior financial officers. The requirement for the code of ethics for the senior financial officers applies to the company's principal financial officer and the comptroller or the principal accounting officer or the persons performing the similar functions. Section 406 requires firms to disclose immediately by means of a Form 8K filled with the SEC or by the other electronic means any change in or waiver of its code of ethics for the senior financial officers. Factors contributing towards the ethical behavior. Factors that contribute to the ethical behavior are creating a positive work environment, avoiding legal problems, improving brand reputation, enhancing the customer loyalty, supporting the employee satisfaction and the meaning, satisfying the need to do the right thing. Factors influencing the unethical behavior on an individual level. On the individual level, the personal judgment of an employee often depends upon his or her personal life experiences, educational background, and social status. All of these are different for everyone, and as a result, each individual may react differently to the same situations. Factors influencing the unethical behavior on an organizational level. On the organizational level, organization-specific features such as the management style, group dynamics, remuneration and the promotion systems and practices, performance evaluation, budgeting and reporting processes, as well as overall condition of the business are all the important factors impacting the behavior of the individuals in more or less the significant ways. When companies are doing well and individuals are well compensated, they may have less desire to act in unethical ways because of the risk involved. However, when things in the company are bad or an individual has little to lose personally, they may have a greater inclination towards the unethical behaviors. Factors influencing the unethical behavior outside the organization. Outside of the organization, external pressures and the influences such as those of the competitors, investors, partners, customers, governments, especially in a different country, and other stakeholders may compel individuals to compromise their ethical standards. A firm working in different countries or cultures may find it particularly challenging to have the employees adhere to a single set of rules and reach a consensus on what is considered right or wrong as applied to the business practices. Tools to identify the business controls related to the ethical or the behavioral issue. Continual process improvement involves the constant monitoring of the business processes as a basis to learn from the experience and to adapt to new situations before they create these significant problems. The goal for the management accountant is to help create a learning organization that provides the basis for the organization to manage their impact of changes to the organization. Business process reengineering is the process of analyzing the individual activities of a process as a basis to determine the most effective way to fulfill the process. By using this approach, the management accountant will understand the risk associated with each activity. This understanding provides the basis to predict how a reasonable person would behave in certain circumstances. Quality management. Quality management is based on the objective of preventing mistakes from occurring by identifying and evaluating the risk situations in advance. Once the risk situations are identified, the management accountant develops the alternative strategies to avoid the risk situations. The goal is to identify the situations where risk exists that will result in the employee behavior that does not follow the accepted norms of the ethical behavior. Techniques to help monitor the status of the controls. Number 1. Human performance feedback loop involves the including ethics in a performance management process for individual employees. The approach is focused on the individual and is conducted openly between the individuals and their immediate supervisors. Ideally, the approach is built into the company human resource management processes and the employee performance is measured against the specific goals to ensure that the company's ethical expectations of its employees are effective and understood. Number 2 technique is the survey tools. Survey tools involve submitting survey questions to the company's employees regarding the company's ethics policies and asking for an anonymous written responses. In this approach, the employee provides answers based upon the standard choices. The entire employee population, or at least large portions, is involved. This involvement of employees gives the senior management and the board of the directors information about how well the organization's code of ethics is being understood and followed. Here comes the end of the section F and also the complete lecture video series on the CMA part 2. The candidates are required to solve the true and false questions from the study book. Do practice the test bank questions for success in the CMA part 2 exam. I am highly grateful to the Abdullah Yusuf for his expertise in developing this lecture video series. Feel free to ask any questions relating to the studies through the WhatsApp on the 923112224261 or through email at the help@zenacademy.us. May Allah, Lord of the heavens and the earth, bless you in this world and in particular in the life hereafter. Amen. Have a nice day. Take care. Allah Hafiz.